I'm sure by now most of you are aware that the British government have managed to mess with the internet at a scale which no other nation on earth has managed to. It's the fact that they claim it's for child safety, which is laughable because I see protests being flagged by this. I see conversation about credit cards also being classified as sensitive material. And Wikipedia itself, last time I checked, wasn't a pornographic website, but even they are now affected by the British regulation. And British regulation says that any website on planet Earth, as long as it has a significant number of British citizens on it, has to apply by what Ofcom is telling. And what Ofcom is telling is that you need to dox yourself in order to view that website. It also needs to have moderation. It also needs to censor certain topics like anti-immigration sentiments, so on and so forth, right? So, suffice to say, a lot of people don't like it, especially now that these regulations are coming into the European Union. This is due to the fact that the EU is also pushing for a digital safety bill that's very similar to what Britain is having. And so platforms like X are saying, well, since we already have the age robust verification, might as well put it in the EU now, because why not? And so the internet is kind of like a shithole right now. On one hand, you have kids that are bypassing this by using Fortnite character, by using video game characters, by using AI-generated videos, which leads me to assume that they're simply going to remove the possibility of scanning your face, and instead you'll just have to dox yourself in order to go online, which, in my opinion, is the exact reason why they started this. And so, in Britain, there was a petition. Right now, the interesting thing about petitions in Britain is that if they gather 100,000 signatures, then the parliament has to debate them. So it's not like a change.org petition. It's basically if a matter is deemed of significant public importance, then, well, they are going to talk about it. And a lot of people put their hopes into this because in just a couple of days, the petition got 350,000 signatures. Now, if you're unaware, this is an astonishingly high number. Most of these petitions rarely even get 100,000, let alone like 350,000 in a day. The reason it's astonishing is not just the speed that it got up to, but it's also the historical high because I think like the largest petition ever was like 1 million signatures during reverse Brexit, right? So that one managed to get that amount of numbers after a couple of weeks. This one in just a couple of days. So you can imagine just how big it would have grown if they would have allowed it the same amount of time like the Brexit one. And so the parliament had to respond, and what they said is that the government is working with Ofcom to ensure that online in-scope services are subject to robust but proportionate regulation through the effective implementation of the Online Safety Act. In other words, just dox yourself, right? Like, if you want to talk about anti-immigration, you need to dox yourself. If you're a person that's a victim of sexual abuse and you want to go on Reddit in order to discuss your experiences, you gotta dox yourself. Like, I'm not even kidding. There are subreddits which are literally for that. Like, people who are victims of abuse, they go there and they talk to other people in order to find ways to cope. They gotta dox themselves now. You want to use a search engine? Dox yourself. And this is like, again, to protect the children. Well, I hope that the children are very safe now. Now, the response is that the government would like to thank all those who signed the petition. It is right that the regulatory regime for in-scope online services take a proportionate approach, balancing the protection of users from online harm with the ability for low-risk services to operate effectively and provide benefits to users. The government has no plans to repeal the Online Safety Act and is working closely with Ofcom to implement the act as quickly and effectively as possible to enable UK users to benefit from doxing themselves. In other words, go fuck yourselves. You know, I predicted that this would happen simply because, historically speaking, politicians would never repeal a legislation just after they passed it. It makes them look bad. It makes them look incompetent. And what they're hoping is that this blows away, right? Like, they're hoping that people are upset now, but as time moves on, as the months pass, you know, they will be normalized with doxing themselves, and the government gets what they want. Unfortunately, I don't think that will happen. Because from what I'm seeing online and what I've been told, is that there are websites that are creating themselves with the purpose of stealing people's IDs. So do you guys remember when there was that big controversy where another website that looked exactly like OBS existed, and it was like at the top of the Google search engine, and a lot of YouTubers downloaded OBS from that, and the moment they logged in, their channels got hacked. Well, guess what? There's a lot of websites like that now. And so people from the European Union or people from the UK, you know, they go there, they dox themselves, and they experience the joys of identity theft. I think this is going to cause a level of ass hurt unlike the internet has ever seen. My advice, and I'll probably make another video for this because this is actually important, and I want you to tell your friends and family about this. My advice is, if you're an adult and you must dox yourself, right? First of all, like try to find out ways that you don't really have to dox yourself. Like, there's a lot of guides on Reddit, there's a lot of guides on Twitter. Like, I'm pretty sure, you know, if you're an adult, you're a savvy person, you can figure out ways to avoid doxing yourself. But if you must, like if you insist on doxing yourself, at least do the facial scan. At least do that, right? Like, do the facial scan. Do not give them your ID under any circumstance. It's not because, like, the company necessarily wants to take your ID, but it's more the fact, like, what happens if they get hacked? Do you want your ID out there? Because I don't think you do. Honestly, it's almost like they're building, like there's no way they don't know that this will happen. There's no way that they didn't prepare for it. Like, I'm genuinely thinking that they're trying to organize a crisis in order for them to justify digital ID or something like that. In order for, after, like, a lot of people are going to be fucked over this, they will say, well, shit, you know, like, what can we do now? Bad people did bad things. We just have another solution now. Digital ID. I'm a skeptical person. I'm from Eastern Europe. I try to think of the worst and prepare for the worst and hope for the better. You know, so, like, my opinion is that this is probably the worst scenario. And so I'm going to prepare for it, which is why I'm not going to give them my ID at all. Even when it comes to banking, I don't give them my ID. I go to the bank in person. Like, this is what they hate, right? This is the type of culture that they're desperately fighting against, and this is why I will not give in. Always use cash as much as possible. Use paper cash whenever it's possible, right? Always take your money out from payment processors, from credit card, from everything. Like, just make sure that your bank accounts are empty. If you have a lot of money, you can invest it in something. You can invest it in a bank, right? Like, there are many opportunities where you can store the money so that it's not in your house. But at the same time, it's not stuck in a payment processor or a credit card. And the most important thing, whenever you do paperwork, do it in person. Do it in fucking person. Our parents did that. I know it's unthinkable now in 2025, but they're trying to push it to force you to go online and then to create the online space into the most totalitarian shit that we have ever imagined. Like, George Orwell wrote about a milquetoast totalitarian regime with some technology. This is a nightmare that even George Orwell couldn't dream. And again, like, it's going to come from the European Union, from Australia. The United States is passing a similar bill. Like, it's all coordinated. It's happening in the same time frame within 1 or 2 years. And my advice is to make sure that you don't become a victim, right? Do not give them your ID, just face scan. Anyway, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys on my live stream. Take care.